All right. This is really long walk to freedom. Woo! God. Yeah, that's a real stamp. Right? Alrighty, guys, welcome to Animate with Everyone's Animator. I am Everyone's Animator. This is the third phase of our animation journey where we'll be talking about character rigging for animation part 2. If you're a newbie watching my video for the first time, please kindly support me by subscribing to my channel and also liking this video if you enjoy it. And if you don't, like it anyway. You don't have a choice. You gotta like it, man. You gotta like it. Right from the beginning of our journey, we've been able to understand anime to some extent, creating a rough sketch of our character and inking coloring while separating all the body parts into different symbols. In today's class, we will take that character a little bit further by creating necessary elements we need to create animations. FYI, I'll be making the project file to this class also available for us to download. Check out the description below for the Google Drive link. Download it and follow along in today's class. So enough of all the talk. Let's get to it. So far so good, we've been able to understand how to get our character design up to this stage where we are right now. So let's just cut to the chase. To begin with, of course, we'll start with the head, which is the most important part in character rigging. And for the particular style of animation we are going for, the only part we'll be rigging mostly is the face. So I will zoom into the face right now to focus deeply into it, and I can start with the eyebrows. Creating elements for each and every symbols that we have, what you need to do basically is just to go into the symbol itself. As you can see up here, we have scene 1, boy, full head, brows. So looking down in our timeline, you will notice we only have layer 1, frame 1. So what I will do now instead is I'll create a new layer. So now we have layer 2. I will lock layer 1, so just in case I won't have, accidentally delete it or make any change to it. So what layer 2 is going to be doing basically is just going to serve as our rough layer. We can always delete it afterwards or maybe just ghost it. So on layer 2, I'll be roughing every necessary eyebrow expressions I'll be needing. Looking closely into eyebrows, we have varieties and a lot of eyebrows expressions we can think of, but the most simple expressions we can always work with is happy, sad, angry, and sarcastic. So as you can see, we have the major eyebrow expressions we know we can need in the nearest future. But then again, along the line while you animate, if you notice there's a particular style of eyebrows you might be needing, you can always go back into the eyebrow symbol and create them. So what I would advise is you can easily just screenshot what I have in my screen right now, so you can use that in your own case. Now coming into animate, what I will do basically is I'll just rough sketch every necessary eyebrows I'll be needing. Starting with this, I can just rough sketch this to create a ghost so I can see where I'm coming from, just to know where I'll be going to. Because once I'm done rough sketching this particular eyebrow, I will come down to my timeline, layer 1, hide the main eyebrows. So to hide it, you see this eye icon. Just click on that eye icon. It will hide whatever it is you have on that layer. So I will go to my layer 2, frame 2, right click and insert blank keyframe. So with this, I can switch on my onion skin so I can see my previous frame, and then with this I can guide myself throughout creating all other necessary eyebrows I'll be needing. Now I've been able to create every necessary eyebrows expression I'll be needing, from my straight look all the way down to angry and scared to sarcastic. So of course there are other eyebrows I'll be needing, but let's just stick with the basic one. Once I'm done with my rough sketch, I can select my layer 2, drag it down to come under layer 1 so that I can lock that, unlock layer 1, and then unhide it, so I can just come to layer 1 and create all the real eyebrows following the rough sketch I've once created. Once you're done inking out all your eyebrows, just come down to layer 2, which serves as our rough sketch. You can either delete it by clicking this delete icon, which is that trash icon you can see, or you can just ghost this layer in case you might probably need it to create more rough sketch later on. So how do you ghost a layer? Just right click on that layer, in this case layer 2, and then click on guide. So what guide does is you'll see this like an hammer icon next to your layer 2. So what it does is your layer is still there for you to manipulate, edit and do stuff, but the camera won't see it as the final production. Now if you go back to full head, you'll notice you're only seeing our main eyebrow drawing, but we can't see the rough sketch. The reason is because we've been able to ghost it. So I'll use the same process, of course, again to create all other assets. So the next thing to do now is our eyelid. Looking closely also into our eyelids, you will see that we have minimum eyelid actions, correspond to your eyebrows. What does your eyelid do basically? It's just for you to blink or to wink. We can have where it's widely open all the way down to where it closes his eyes and then opens up a little bit, or also to make a one eye blink. Also, you can screenshot these elements so that you can work with it as well. Now, how do we do our eyelid? First thing to do is to select your eyedropper tool, click on your skin tone, in this case my brown. Then I can just draw a random stuff, yeah, random stuff. I can just draw a random stuff outside here, select it, right click and convert it to a symbol. Make sure our symbols are all set up as well. Your type is set to graphics, your registration is at the setter, and then we can call these leads. Then now this is one symbol, which is our eyelid. Select it and drag it somewhere around the forehead. Anyway, actually, just make sure it's on the skin tone, so that way once we click out, it won't be visible on the head. You can't really tell where that little shape we just created is. So mostly I put it on the forehead, but you can put it on the cheek or on the mouth, anywhere you want to, but just let us leave it on the forehead, so that way it blends with the skin, so we can't really tell what's there. You will know the reason why we are creating that now. So once you're done creating that, click it again and double click to go inside the symbol. Now you can see we are on scene 1, boy, full head, leads. Looking down onto our timeline, you can see we have something similar to the eyebrows as well. So layer 1, frame 1, where we have our dots. So for this, you can also create layer 2 to do your rough sketch if you want to, and if you feel you can go all the way like that without rough sketching, it's still fine. So in this case, I will also create a layer 2 where I will plan out all my rough sketches for my eye blink. So new layer, layer 2, lock layer 1, and then hide. So I can create our ghost once again, then frame 2, insert blank keyframe, and then I rough sketch. Alrighty, now that I'm done with my rough sketch, I can always select the layer 2, drag it down, lock, wireframe, unlock layer 1, unhide it, and then create the main one. Notice on my rough sketch I did the rough sketch for the shape thing, so that means we are keeping it. So we go to layer 2, insert blank keyframe, and then we draw the main thing. One thing to make sure your eyelid does is to make sure that it covers the eyes entirely, because that's the work of an eyelid anyway. It needs to cover the eyes, serve as a cover. So for every position you need your eyelids to go to, you need to make sure it covers all the bits of the eyes around it. Unlike this lower eyelid, now you can see I make sure that it covers the lower part of the eyes socket or whatever, so, and then corresponding to this part where we have him closing his eyes, I need to make sure the skin tone also covers everything, so it shows that okay, something is actually on top of it. Same process, layer 2, right click, guide. so that way the camera won't see it. So I can come back to our full head. Now you can see we still have our dots, but then again we know that inside our dots there are other necessary elements we'll be needing in the nearest future. The next thing now, which is the ultimate thing, is the mouth. Creating the element for mouth, in this case lip syncing, is quite broad, but I've been able to break this down into simple sounds that you can memorize in order to understand the necessary mouth shapes that you need. Looking at what I have on my screen right now, you can see where we have the neutral. So for the neutral sound, we have the we have the ha, we have the ta, we have the o, to the e, to the f, to the f, to the l. Now all these mouth shapes is the basic mouth shape that comprises all the words that a human might want to utter. So to say whatever it is you want to say falls under all these mouth shapes. How to memorize this is basically putting this into a words. So it's just where you have your mouth closed, open it up, make a o sound, make the e sound, then we have the last f and the l sound, which is something like mwawi feel, mwawi feel. So if you're able to remember the word mwawi feel, you'll be able to quickly put down the necessary mouth shapes that you need for your lip syncing. Note that this mouth feel does not really give you all the mouth shapes that you need. It's just giving you kind of like a keyframe to all the mouths you'll be needing. So once again, mouth feel, mouth feel. So once you create all these mouth shapes on the neutral level, what you just need to do to complete these mouth shapes is to create the in-betweens. If you look at the to the ha, there are quite a couple of in-betweens that have to come in place before you can get to the ha. Of course, the mouth is being closed and then you're opening it up. So you know the actions that need to be done before the mouth is open to that extent. Also, on a side note, for your lip syncing, note that the upper mouth of an human does not change position. So to say, it does not move. So if you are talking and then you touch your upper mouth, you notice it stays in one position. But if you touch your lower mouth, which is in this case probably your jaw, and then you are talking, you will notice how it keeps going up and down. This is for you to know that if you are drawing all your mouth shapes, make sure the upper lip stays in one position. Worst case scenario where you have to move it might be where you have an extreme expressions, unlike the happy or the sad or other funky mouth cartoon expression you might want to do. But naturally, the upper mouth or the upper lip stays in one position. Moving on like that, from the ha to the ta to the o, you have to create the necessary in-betweens you need to complete the mouth shapes. Coming to animate now, we will create the element for this lip also using the same process we did for the brows and the lid. We go inside the mouth, same thing, create a new layer, which is going to be layer 2, lock layer 1, wireframe it, and then go back to layer 2, rough sketch of the mouth we need. Now that I'm done with the rough sketch for the lip, I can always do the same thing, drag down my layer 2, lock and wireframe, and then on layer 1 I will make sure I ink all this mouth corresponding to the rough sketch I've been able to create. So not to bore us, I will go to future where I'm done creating all these mouth shapes, so we can just take things further from there. Now, as you can see, I've been able to create all the necessary mouth shapes that I know I'll be needing. And if you can remember our sound, Maui feel, Maui feel, Maui feel. So you just have to pronounce all sounds so that way you know you've got it. So these are just mainly the mouth shapes that I will be needing. And as you can guess it, once you're done, go back to your layer 2, right click, convert to guide, and then I can come back to my full head. I have my mouth all rigged up. So far so good that we have been able to create all the necessary elements that we need for the facial
animations, we need to make sure that all symbols are in the right place in order to make sure that they are all set up, because animate records elements as a loop. We need to change the setting and let animate understand that these are elements that we want to select. So how do you do that? Go to Windows, from your option menu, go to Windows and come all the way down to where you have your frame picker. So your frame picker is this little box right here. You might probably have it in your your two panels already, but if you're using an older version of Animate, I think what you can need to get is a keyframe caddy. I think there's an extension for that. You can always download it online. But if you have a frame picker, that is basically the plugin we want to use. So what do we do with frame picker? So frame picker is what we can use to let animates understand that what we've been creating so far are just elements we want to select by ourselves. So the first thing we need to do, we go back to our eyebrows. So select the brow, and then you can see where we have the loop. Basically, that's what Animate understands it. So it set it as loop option for graphics, which is the default. So we can just drop that down and go to single frame. So we put it to single frame. So that means we can always come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and select any eyebrows we need. So paying attention to our eyebrows, if I select number 2, you see the eyebrow changes. Select number 3, you see the eyebrow changes. 4, also 5 and 6. Little problem you notice now is our eyebrows is behind the eyes, so we can easily just fix that. So right click on your eyebrow on the page, go to arrange, and bring to front. So that way we have our eyebrows all the way in front of our eyes. So once the eyebrows has been set into single frame, we do the same thing for the eyelid. Remember, our eyelid is at this forehead center. So you can just click that and then it brings up all the elements you've been able to create. So same thing, loop, drop it down, single frame. So we can select number 2, you can see number 3, 4, and then number 5. So same thing again, you can see there's an error here with the eyelid clashing with the nose. So what we need to do now is to make sure the nose is in front of the eyelid. Just as you must have guessed it, right click on the nose, arrange, bring to front. So now we have the nose in front of the eyelid, so we can easily select the eyelid now and then change it to whatever the eyes expression we want it to have. Now you see the work of the first random shape we create. The work is just for us to have the eyes widely open. So we need to create like a ghost element somewhere that won't really be showing, so we can just have the eyes to widely open. We can as well just have nothing on that frame, but the way symbol works in Animate is you need to have something to click onto to go into that symbol. So if you have a symbol where you create something and then you go inside that symbol and delete that thing, it's really hard for you to go back into that symbol. So in this case, it's best you just create a random thing that you can hide on the skin. It blends together, it camouflages, and then you can use that to just go inside and create other elements. So same thing for the mouth. Select, put it on single frame so we can test out all our mouths to see what we have so far. So far so good. I'm happy with what we've been able to create on our character. As you can see, the head is ready for facial animation. We have the eyebrows ready, the blink is ready, the eyes, the eyeball is also ready, and then the mouth is ready to talk. And for the body part, we are not going to do anything to that. Yes, the body part is ready and is all set up for animation. What we'll be using for the body part instead is frame by frame animation. So to say, we will combine frame by frame animation with cutout animation, so that way we can get a smooth and fluid animation style. And that is all I have for us in today's class, which concludes our course in rigging a character for animation. So do make sure to check out the project file to this particular class in the description below, so you can have a real-time navigation around the symbols and the elements we've been able to create. So guys, that is all we have for today's class. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel and that bell button, click on it so you will get notified when the next class drops. So until next time guys, keep being a dazzling artist.